Criston Cole is the embodiment of simple play.
That is who he is. Welcome to my life. Man. Hello, and welcome to May the Review Be With You with Nick and Joe. I'm Joe.
I'm Nick.
And today we are reviewing Season 2 of House of the Dragon, the Queen That Ever Was. We're at the finale. Once again, Nick, we're at the finale of a Song of Ice and Fire story. It's always kind of a bittersweet moment. I mean, the finale is always like a supercharged part of the story, right? With like intense things happening, both politics and magic. And then it ends. And then we just don't have it for like a year or two. And yeah. I hate it. Life gets a little more bitter. It's the worst.
Yeah, I think it's going to not be out until like 2026 because I think they start filming in 2025. So...
Oh, that hurts.
2 years until season 3 of House of the Dragon. It's a little tough.
Oh.
Obviously, this last episode, you know, the Song of Ice and Fire stories do a very good job of setting up the next season in these finales. And typically, there are some really cool moments, but everyone knows that the Song of Ice and Fire insane episodes are typically the one before last, which I think that stands true here. But there were some really awesome things that happened in this finale that we can unpack here, and then we'll do an overall
for sure
chat. But yeah, what are your initial thoughts?
So overall,
where do you want to start?
I'm gonna do just a broad sweep here of season 2.
Love it.
And I'm just gonna say I think in most cases, this was a better season than the one that we got before. I think, personally, I enjoyed it more. I think I'd have to watch both again to actually break down which season, narratively, works better. Mm-hmm. But in season 1, there's a ton of, time shifting. Right. And a lot of jumping around and, a lot of, hyper storytelling. Really fast storytelling. And, I think... most of the time, it's pretty effective in the first season, whereas this season, in season 2, we had kind of the opposite. It was slow down storytelling, right?
Yeah, there were some moments.
Yeah, there were some moments. I mean, we pick up where we left off with Jace being killed, right, and the aftermath. And I don't know how much time actually goes by between episode 1 and the finale. A month, maybe. It's not that much time.
No, of season 2.
Yeah. Is it more than that?
I want to say it's more, and the only reason that I'm thinking that is, and this is a great point you're making about what is the timeline of season 2. How long is this season in real time? A month, 2 months, 6 months? The reason I think it's longer than a month is solely because of Aegon's healing. After being burned alive, basically, and falling off of his dragon. He has made a lot of progress. And those kind of injuries in this kind of a, medieval time, I feel like it's months, most likely. Granted, it's a TV show, and the showrunners are telling a story in their own time. And so there's no real way to tell. But if I had to guess, I would say definitely longer than a month span.
I think you're right. And something that I hadn't considered, there's one other... So most of the time when, people are traveling, they just skip the time and, they just teleport and they're just unless it's a dragon rider, the dragon riders, I kind of give them a pass. I don't know how fast a dragon is in this world.
Right.
But other characters, they just teleport and they just... wherever the plot requires them to be, right? Except for Tyland, maybe, right? He ends up in Essos, and we really don't know how much time transpired between, I guess, when he was dismissed and told to go do that, go talk to the pirates, the Triarchy, and then
him also
being there.
And the other character too, now that I'm thinking about it, you mentioned Tyland. I forget his name, but one of the right hand man of Rhaenyra, who she sends to Harrenhal to scoop up Daemon. I forget his name, but she sent him there like 2 or 3 episodes ago, and finally in the finale he arrives at Harrenhal. Now we don't know how much time it takes to get from Dragonstone, right? That's where they're hauled up
Yeah,
from Dragonstone to Harrenhal, but
I'm thinking you're right. I think it's probably 2 or 3 days because, like, by Dragonback, they get there like
quick.
2 hours. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's fast.
Yeah.
So I imagine like 2 or 3 days sounds like that's reasonable by horse.
Yeah, this is always a big problem in Song of Ice and Fire TV shows, is the traveling and the amount of time. And it's only a problem because some people online like really
Like,
decide
about it.
to be loud and think about it too much, because at the end of the day, like, it's a TV show, they're telling a story. We can't nitpick it too much.
Like hell, we can't.
But we're trying.
I'll give you
Listen.
this. I think you're absolutely right. I think it's probably more than a month. In
Yeah.
any case, it's still leaps and bounds slower than the first season, and I think for that, I appreciate that. For simply to like just getting to know these characters better.
Yeah, this is a great point. That's exactly what I was thinking when you mentioned the story, how much we time skip in that first season by like, just all these we meet different actors who are playing these characters as they're older. And this season we get to actually like settle into the actors who are playing these characters and really get to like appreciate what they're doing, which was awesome, especially with Aemond and Aegon. I'm still a little sad that Aegon basically became crippled so quickly, because I love his character so much, and I wish we got like another episode or two of him being himself before he got just absolutely destroyed by his brother. But maybe we'll get some more at some point, because he's not dead somehow. So, and now he's on the way to Essos, I think, right? Is where he's going.
That's the plan. Take him away to Essos.
We'll see.
Keeping things. Unless Nick, was there anything regarding just overall for the season that you wanted to mention before we talk about the Queen That Ever Was?
Yeah. So I know we talked about kind of the pacing, and it was a little slower than season 1, and for the most part, I don't mind that. I like being able to get to know the characters and the intricacies about them. It gives the actors more like space to develop the character, which is really cool. And so for the most part, I was okay with it, and I really did enjoy it. And I've been really loud about this on threads, about Daemon being at Harrenhal for 5 episodes and basically just being haunted for 5 episodes, because
you made your complaints and voice very well heard on threads.
The story just did not progress for 5 episodes, and in the what was it, episode 7, the whole thing with Oscar Tully and him, that was really fun and really cool and really badass. And then finally in episode 8, we got this really awesome moment. And so it kind of made it all worth it, but that was the only part of the whole season that was just felt a little bit too dragged on for me. Like they just kind of like, they shoved him to Harrenhal so they could deal with other parts of the story. And I don't, him just being haunted for that long just felt a little bit drawn out to me. I think I could have done like maybe 1 or 2 episodes less of that, but it all makes sense, especially with the finale, which was a really cool reveal and way to kind of complete that storyline. But that's the only thing. But the pacing, I've enjoyed it for the most part here in season 2.
Same. I agree. Like there were times where I was like, come on, get on with it. Like what you said about Daemon, it's like I can only watch this man be crazy for so long. 'Cause it ultimately felt like all the visions were kind of saying the same thing. It's like,
right,
bro, you're not the main character.
Right.
Like, come on.
Come on, dude.
Come on. Like 3 episodes of that, maybe, not 5.
Yeah.
But man, does it lead to a great spot. 2 great spots, really. So let's talk about that. The Queen That Ever Was. I enjoyed this episode. It's not what I thought it was going to be. I thought we were going to see a lot more action and violence in this episode, and
Me too.
yeah, I think probably most people thought that, right?
Which we should know better. That
We should know better.
the finale of a Song of Ice and Fire TV shows is not chaotic.
That's a great point. Most of the time, it's a reaction, right,
Yeah.
to something violent that's already happened, right? I think with very few exceptions is that true. The only one in actual like Game of Thrones like proper that I can think of that ended with like something violent was the finale of season 6 when Cersei blows up the Sept.
That was the finale.
Yeah, that's the finale of 6.
Oh man, that's
I
crazy.
know. It's legendary.
God.
I
just
guess you
pictured.
could make the argument that 8 ends with a little bit of violence too, with the death of Daenerys. Spoilers for anyone who somehow is listening to this and hasn't watched that yet.
There's no passing there. We don't have to call it spoilers for that. That's their fault.
Agreed. But yeah, this was an episode with political intrigue and emotionally charged moments. And my dude, I did not really care about Tyland in this show until this episode. And his minor story became like one of the highlights for me of the entire season.
Really? That's funny.
Yes, absolutely everything. Like the poor guy, like after he talks to the Triarchy and he's like, "Cool, it's been decided, great." And they're like, "Well, actually, we really want you to talk to our ambassador. Like not our ambassador, our admiral. He really you need to inspire confidence in him first." And he's like, "I mean, I was kind of hoping I could drink some wine and like rest for a minute." And there was zero rest from that moment. From that moment, his life is a sitcom, and it's amazing. Him just getting his ass handed to him in the mud by Lohar.
The Mud Show. Like we're at the freaking Renaissance fail. I was like, where are we right now?
Incredible. Lohar is incredible.
You know what? That just makes me think real quick. Side note: the Renaissance Festival needs to rebrand as like Game of Thrones Festival. Anyway, that's a thought. They should do that.
There's definitely some like
They're
overlap.
basically already there, but like they just need to like put the actual name on it, and then we're official.
Just
Anyway, sorry.
Make it like Martin Fest. That doesn't sound good. Gurm Fest. There you go.
Martin Fest. That's creepy.
Martin. Just a bunch of Martins who show up.
Jesus.
Schwartz.
Man.
But the whole Lohar thing.
So good.
Yeah, I absolutely loved everything about Tyland. What were the standouts for you in the finale?
The finale for me, standouts, Daemon at Harrenhal, which is hilarious because I hated that he was there for 5 episodes and then it was just so badass. He finally, he goes and has the vision of like the three-eyed raven and the future of his house and the future of Westeros. He sees what we assume is Robert Baratheon before the vision even starts, with the antlers, right? At least that's the speculation. And it was just like a really awesome way to bring home that whole part of the story. And for Daemon to finally realize that, like, just like you said, I'm not the main character in the story. Like, this whole war is bigger than me. The future of my house is bigger than me. Like, I need to get in line. And the only way to ensure that the human race continues to exist is for me to bend the knee, basically. And of course, like, we get a winter is coming line, which I was not expecting at all, and it's Daemon saying winter is coming, of all the people who are choosing to like look after everyone else other than themselves and now focus on winter coming. It's Daemon of all people. It's like, what are we talking about? So that whole storyline just sticks out. That was awesome. And then something we probably should talk about is all the new dragon riders. Them being at the table with Rhaenyra sticks out. Just like, her essentially a day after they all have claimed dragons. She's like, in 3 days, you guys are going into the battle. We have to win. We have to finish this now. And I'm pretty sure at least one of them is gonna like. It's probably Ulf. He's either gonna chicken shit and go the other way, or he's gonna flip sides very easily because he doesn't seem like a very loyal. I mean, none of them can be that loyal, but he's the least loyal of them all, in my opinion. So, um, that stood out as well. And then of course Alicent. These two are frustrating as from a best friend perspective. They just keep, traveling in the middle of the night, trying to sneak into each other's kingdoms just to have a conversation. Sorry, bestie. They're just each apologizing left and right, and just,
For the love you once bore me as a friend.
Yeah, God, Alicent. It would be nice.
I want to believe that, like, if you and I were, like, tearing America apart, like, we could still meet in, like, I don't know, like, Nevada or, like, Missouri or something and be like, hey, like, I know we hate each other and we're trying to, like, ruin the world, but we're still cool, right?
That would never happen. We would we would never be on opposite sides.
Never.
This world will bend to our whims.
Love you.
Aye.
But yeah, no, I agree that whole concept of them. I think that's actually one of the whole concept of them being able to do that. That's actually one of the lowlights for me this season.
Yeah,
Not the
it's
conversation.
crazy.
The conversations are fine. I think they're interesting.
Yeah,
and they're very well performed. But yeah, the idea of them is kind of stupid, especially Rhaenyra somehow getting all the way through King's Landing and that close to Alicent in the Sept. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Really? This was the best we could think of, writers.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it is a low light because it just doesn't quite do it. It doesn't hit the mark.
It feels a little fan fiction-y compared to all the other stuff that we're given. It's like this doesn't gel.
And I love that the showrunners too at the end of the episodes when they're talking about after the episode and all that, they're always talking about how they're such good friends and they're best friend. They've been friends since they were kids. It's like, go back and watch the first season. The second that Alicent chooses to marry the father, like they what were they, like 15? Like,
yeah.
They have been adults longer than they were best friends when they were younger. So I don't know if the best friend thing should really be what they're hanging their hats on here for why they keep trying to meet each other, because I'm pretty sure their friendship has been like on the rocks longer than they were actually best friends from a timeline perspective at this point. So I don't love that excuse, if you will, sometimes, but whatever. That's how it goes.
It does. Let me ask you this, because I think this was a quick thing, but it was one of the more interesting moments that happened in the episode. It was very quick, and it's something we've already spoken a little bit about, but there's a revelation about where has Otto Hightower been.
Oh my God.
We get a quick shot at the end that Otto is imprisoned. And man, I did not see that coming.
Well,
when you look back on it, it makes sense.
Yeah, because
right?
Aemon hints at it when he first gets the throne.
Aemon hints at it. Then I believe Alicent also talks about how weird it is that he just didn't say which thing he was going to go do. Was he going to go talk to the youngest son? Was he going to go talk to the Tyrells? Like, so let me ask you this. Two-part question here. First part, where do you think he's being imprisoned? And two, who do you think is imprisoning him?
Oh, I have zero clue. I have absolutely zero clue, because the last thing I even remember was Aemon saying, let's find my grandfather and make sure he doesn't cause trouble or something. So there's a possibility he's in King's Landing in the prison cell.
I think that would be the most ironic thing ever.
Aemon's just keeping him close.
Landing.
Right. Aemon's just keeping him close. Yeah, Aemon's keeping him close where he can see him. That would be my guess.
I have two guesses on this. My first is that one. That someone has kidnapped him in King's Landing, probably. Daemon? No, Aemon. Aemon?
Aemon.
Yeah, I don't know why that sounded weird for me for a second. and yeah, and he's still there, or he did take off. This one's less likely, but I kind of like the idea of it. And I don't know how this would work exactly, but I would love the idea of it's the Tyrells, and like this is how the Tyrells get brought into the third season. I say that only because Tyrell's obviously a very powerful house in Westeros. They're right there with the Hightowers, and it feels like we haven't really seen the Tyrells yet in this world. I mean, I guess there's a couple we haven't seen. We haven't really seen the Greyjoys. We've heard the Greyjoys. We know they're coming. We've had the Tyrells name dropped a few times. I think we're getting both of those houses next season.
Nice.
And I think like the Tyrells like making like a huge play like this would be a great way to like introduce them into the story. I don't know. That's just my tinfoil theory. I have no good solid evidence as to how to make that work.
Love it. Love it.
I do have one more thing I want to like nitpick here. Nick, anyone listening, I don't care about Rhaena Targaryen. I'm sorry. I don't care. And it sucks because like the story that they're doing, a friend of mine called this, that there's a character in the book that the creator said is not going to be in the show, which was a bummer. Her name was Nettles, and she was my favorite part of the book. And I was like, man, that sucks. Like that's a whole dragon rider that's just not going to be there. I had a friend speculate. I think they're going to combine Rhaena's story with Nettles' story. Like that's why Nettles isn't in the show. Turns out that friend was completely right. Completely right. But like, I don't care about Rhaena, and I don't think that that's my fault because I don't think the show at this point really cares about Rhaena all that much either.
They don't.
How much screen time do you think she collectively got in the finale? 20 seconds? Honestly, I'd be surprised if it's that much. Like,
I think
every time we got her, it was like less than a minute.
Yeah, I think she had more screen time in the the previous like episode recap before this episode, just to remind us of where she was and what she was doing. Honestly.
Also, like, not only does the show not seem to care about Rhaena, apparently no one that Rhaena was with cares about Rhaena. Because, like, she snuck off super easily, and apparently no one went looking for her, like, at all. You'd think they'd care about the missing princess, but, like, no, we're not going to spend any time talking about that.
Yep, no one cares. But you know what? That probably means that she's going to play some kind of an important role and maybe save the day one of these episodes next season. And then it'll be even more infuriating because that's really not possible.
Well, so the same friend who called this, they also described what they think is going to happen with Rhaena and like how they're going to fold this character into the Nettles character. And I hated her because of like how good it sounded, and how much like I just want to be a purist and like just have like the book be the book, right? But like what they described in like trying to like it basically what she suggested is everything that we knew about Nettles from the book actually was Rhaena, but since the book is a history book and doesn't have personal accounts, no one was ever able to confirm or clarify that this wild girl on this dragon that no one was able to tame was actually a Princess Targaryen, you know? Which that's actually
great.
If she's right, that's actually really cool.
I love that actually. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I do too. So I'm either gonna continue to hate this because it's not what I want it to be, or this is gonna redeem itself and I'm gonna be like, this was the coolest story.
That's fantastic. The last thing I wanted to mention about this finale is a conversation between two characters that we saw for very, very briefly. Criston Cole and Brother Hightower. Criston Cole, perhaps all men are corrupt. Well, that's a line. And then also, to die now would be a kind of relief. I'm pretty sure Criston Cole is the most depressed man in all of Westeros.
I love what a moody teenager Criston Cole is.
God, just such a moody teenage 50-year-old. You know,
So dramatic. He's so dramatic. He is the embodiment of simple plan. Like welcome to my life. That is who he is. Welcome to my life. Man, to die would be such a relief.
We're done. Just hang up the stream. That was great. That's funny. So Criston Cole is the embodiment of simple plan. That's perfect. Yeah, I love how Alicent's brother was like trying to confront him about having sex with his sister, and Criston Cole just ends up being so depressed that the guy was just like, you know what? Never mind. You're more miserable than if I killed you. It'd be worth keeping you alive is better than you being dead.
He was so charged for that conversation, and by the end of it, he just looks so bummed out.
Yeah, he just sits down next to him like, damn, he's right.
Damn, dude.
Damn.
You want me to do it. Now I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
What a great way to diffuse murderous intent.
Oh, God. Something in there.
Weird.
Yeah, make it weird. Yeah. Oh, God. So funny.
So funny. Nick, I feel like there is so much more, like, in general about House of the Dragon we could talk about. And, like, maybe one of these days, like, we could do, like, just an episode about, you know, different theories that we have or different highlights. But it sounds like, you know, we're both pretty positive on where we are here with the show. Just some quick highlights that I'm not going to get into, but just like things that like stuck out to me. I love that Adam Hull is just like already like on board with being a dragon rider for Rhaenyra. I love that Aaron Hull is like, screw you, Dad. I'm going home after this war.
Yes.
I love sad Corlys. I love everything that's going on with Corlys and the Valerians. Rhaenyra, even though some questionable moves or not questionable moves, but just some weird scenes between her and Alicent. I love the scene, like you said, with Daemon. Just some awesome highlights. Quick highlights for you.
Quick highlights. Winter is coming. Daemon bends the knee. Freaking Helena can see confirmed dragon dreams, right? Or whatever they're called. Like, we kind of have already known, but she's
oh
like...
my God, we never talked about that, yeah.
She's like, full on, I can see the future in my dreams, and basically help Daemon like realize that he needs to bend the knee and quit being a dick. and yeah, other than that, Aegon leaving King's Landing, that's a big deal. He gave himself a nickname, the Realm's Delight, which I thought was extremely comical. And other than that, those are kind of the big highlights for me. And yeah, that's it.
I have but two questions for you then.
What's that?
Before we close this out. The first being, for the season, who is your MVP character? And what is your favorite line from House of the Dragon Season 2?
Honestly, my MVP character is Aegon. And I'm pissed that he got so wrecked so quickly because the acting was fantastic. And I actually really liked him as king. If everyone around him wasn't like so gung-ho about controlling him, he might have actually been able to make some decent decisions on his own because he kind of did, right? Before he got like just mind controlled by everyone. So Aegon's kind of the MVP for me. I hope that there's some retribution in his storyline. That would be really cool. I'm going to say this because it's hilarious, and I forgot that this was a line. So Daemon says this in Harrenhal to the warden, not whatever his name is, what's the guy's
Castellan.
name? The Castellan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, he doesn't. He says it to. I don't even remember who he says it to, but he's trying to raise an army. It might have been Oscar Tully. Did Oscar Tully come to see him before, earlier in the season?
Yeah, he's seen him before that moment in the Godswood. I think he saw him like twice before.
Okay, so I think he's actually telling this to Oscar Tully, and it's about raising an army. And this is Daemon's quote: "My time is short, and I have need of an army. Perhaps you'll might place a feather pillow over his head and speed along your inheritance."
That is an amazing moment.
I just stumbled about it on my phone. I was like, oh wait, David says this insane thing.
That's
So good.
that's pretty good.
So good.
For me, my MVP is probably Oscar Tully.
Nice.
For just like how out of the woods like he just came to the party.
Yeah.
And just became the center of attention, immediately. I loved that. Yeah, badass, just
Badass.
absolute badass. Favorite line though has to be, and it's from the finale. It has to be. How many wives do you have?
Yeah.
Hands down.
Tyland. Yeah, and not even that. How many Lannister bastards were created that night?
Oh my
That's what
God,
I wanna
right?
know.
Oh man, we could do a whole theory video about that. Oh
Yeah,
man, that's
yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Not just we got all these Targaryen ones we've met. What about the Lannister ones?
Yeah, how many golden hair? The seed is strong, right? How many golden hairs do we have across the sea? Oh,
They're all pirates too. They're all pirates.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Yo, is new rock stars listening? They should be listening. We just came up with their next video. Too bad we're gonna do it first. Somehow you made me love that even more. Thank you.
Hell
I
yeah.
wanna thank
You're
you for
welcome.
that.
Anything for you.
Nick.
I got you.
Oh, stop it. Nick, how would you rate season 2?
We do out of 10 TV, right? Out of 10?
Yes, sir.
7.2 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm pretty close actually. I'd go. I wasn't gonna do a decimal. I was gonna stick with a solid number here. I'd probably give it a 7. Like it's a good watch. It's a real
Yeah,
good
it's a good watch.
Yeah.
Good watch.
Really
Definitely
enjoyed
rewatch would be on my rewatch list. It's just a cool storyline. And yeah, that's it. That's a review, my friends.
That's it. All right. Well, next time you catch us, we'll be talking maybe about time travel, Marvel stuff. I don't know where we're at with that.
All the things.
If you're trying to figure that out, be sure to follow us on wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on Threads so you can listen to Nick be witty as hell. May the review be with you. And until next time, may the review be with you.
Peace, peace, peace.